what I saw last night on Fox was amazing for a number of reasons. One of them is this. The A-Rod broadcasting arc is something I've never seen, where guy goes from total scandal to he can work at any network that he wants to because he's super famous. But he goes back to Boston, and Boston buried him, and they had to turn down the sound on their own announcers because Boston was enjoying making fun of A-Rod and others with vile language.
And it isn't just baseball. Look what just happened to Lane Kiffin when he went back to Tennessee. But in A-Rod's case, he was playful with it. He had on a Yankees cap to encourage all that reaction, and that's great for baseball. Whether it's this Correa exchange with the watch thing, feeling fine that the pitcher did that, it's just great for the sport because baseball needs that.
He was also almost a Red Sox. Like, how different would things have been if A-Rod was a Red Sox?
Oh, yeah, they'd love him. He'd be their cheater, and the whole thing would be funny because you just simply haven't seen a guy suspended for a league for a year. Chased him through parking lots, calling him a cheater. That's how much we care about cheating. And now he works at both networks.
I feel like he got a raw deal. I'm not going to lie. I don't know why, but I feel like A-Rod got screwed in that whole thing because he was ultimately smarter than all of the rules. That's the thing, right? Which is why it's like really inconsistent with the Astros thing. They're all cheating, right? But if you're dumb enough to get caught, then you deserve the punishment. He was ahead of all of the rules, and he was essentially just punished because they didn't like the fact that he was so much smarter than them in breaking the rules.
Have you seen Billy Corbin's movie?
Yeah, and I was watching, I'm like, this is ridiculous. He didn't get caught. He didn't fail a test. He should not have been suspended when he didn't fail the test.
You are claiming that the subject of the movie Screwball was smarter than everyone.
Yes, I am, which is ridiculous. But yes, Anthony Bosch was smarter than everyone running Major League Baseball. He figured out how to not get caught. And basically everyone figures out how not to get caught, which is how you have all these inflated numbers. You have to be dumb to get caught, or you have to just not care or get lazy in the hoops that you have to jump through to not get caught. Because everybody knew how to beat the system.
It's like Lance Armstrong. He never tested positive. Just people came out and ratted on him. Barry Bonds, same thing. Never tested positive. Maybe the tests aren't good now that I think about it. All these guys are doing it, not getting caught.
That's what I'm saying. If Anthony Bosch can figure out how to beat the system and can outsmart Major League Baseball and the commissioner and everything that they have in order, like, there's a problem with the system.
I'm pretty sure that I have this right. I don't think, I hope this has been reported. I think it's been reported that Screwball belonged to ESPN. Billy Corbin was going to make that as part of a 30 for 30, but because, I'm assuming, because A-Rod works there, you can't really make it there, and so then it was released. But you should see that movie if you want to understand what Billy is saying here when he says this person was smarter than the system. That movie is a clown show. It's unbelievable how A-Rod and Manny Ramirez and these guys got to their $300 million with just a shady Miami doctor. That story's ridiculous. When you watch this, Billy, when you watched Screwball, even you're not naive about these things, but were you not did you not have your breath taken away by how Boca Raton tanning salon stupid you could be and still be smarter than the people chasing you?
He was making a joke of all of it. Even after going to jail, he was making a joke of the entire situation. And if I remember correctly, it came down to like some insignificant amount of money is what brought this down. It was like $2,000 or something over like these notebooks that linked everyone to it that cost A-Rod tens of millions of dollars.
I think people need to watch that movie if they want to understand how flabbergasting it is that you're saying that outsmarted Major League Baseball. Have any of you guys, has anybody else in this room seen the documentary on just what a Miami clown show this whole situation was with A-Rod? And he wins at the end because he's last night, you say it cost him tens of millions of dollars. He's recouping it now. He's getting his money now with a post-career that would not have been allowed to anyone in scandal before him.
But I wonder what it would have been if he didn't get dragged, right? Like, where would he have ended up if he would not have gotten dragged? Because I feel like there's still a little bit of that attached to him, right? A lot of that's gone away. But he's like this media darling that he has like this black, like shadowy portion of his life, right? Like a dark cloud over him.
Threw me off there.
But what would have happened if he didn't have that?
He'd be considered the greatest pristine
You're
of
on
the
Good Morning
players
America
of all
or something.
time. He would be an American icon. Like all of these guys' reputations. Brett Favre's been undone. He could have been gunslinger throughout time.
Whoa, undone. Copperfit begs to differ. That guy's throwing deep passes and he feels great.
Does that commercial not make you sad? Do you not see how Jerry Rice and Brett Favre look, how stiff they look running around in their 50s because football has wrecked their bodies?
They don't look stiff because they have their copper fit on. The power of copper. No? Anyone else?
We've just got into a big debate back here whether A-Rod would be good on morning television or not.
Look,
Like GMA, he's too starchy.
He'd be Strahan.
No, see, I
He'd
use
be
that as an
Strahan.
example. I don't think he'd be as good as Strahan.
They said that he's not fake enough. I go, he's only fake. What are you talking about?
It would be obvious that he's being fake. Strahan
No,
gets
he's
on
great
GMA.
at fake,
He's
though.
great at
No.
Do you watch morning television? They're
Yeah.
all super fake.
Yeah, but Strahan, I don't know. I like Strahan.
A-Rod is greater at fake than anyone in the history of fake. He's the greatest fake
But
of
look,
all
you
the
know
fakes.
it, but everyone knows it.
But no one cares.
That's television.
That's Good Morning
I feel like
America.
Strahan is more natural.
Live with Kelly and A-Rod. I can see it.
Yeah,
oh my
absolutely.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Live with Kelly
100%.
and Alex.
That would be the greatest of the rehabs. What a story arc on that would be if he gets to morning television by just being the fakest of the fakety.
I love how we're sitting here trying to save A-Rod's career had he not had the scandal. Like, he needs saving. Yeah. Who would he have dated instead of J-Lo if he hadn't had the scandal?
Can you be the greatest fake if everyone knows you're fake?
No, yes, because that's a point.
That's how good you
Everyone
Exactly.
knows you're fake and they don't care.
No,
They
no,
still
no.
Exactly.
accept it.
But we're all telegraphing it. Charlie Rose, that guy was a good fake.
Yeah, but there's no downfall for him because you know he's faking it.
It was a huge downfall for
Yeah.
Charlie
I know.
Rose.
That's just what I'm saying. With
Yeah.
A-Rod, you know, like, this is completely insincere. It doesn't matter. And you've accepted it.
What I love about this conversation is the institutional memory of, do you guys realize that since A-Rod has gotten into the league as a phenom at 19, the reason everyone in that sport hated him is because they all thought he was a fake. And now he's parlayed it into
millions of
amazing
dollars.
riches, and we'll forget it so much. The reason he's one of the most hated people by his peers in the history of that sport is because no one thought he was ever sincere. He was always asking Michael Jordan, like, how do you squeeze a reporter's knee when you want to get the charm over? What's the correct way to shake hands? He was always trying to learn what are the greatest nuggets of golden fakery you athletes who are the myths can give me so I can conquer the world. Like, it's amazing to watch what's happening on television right now as A-Rod's got all of these jobs and has reinvented himself while Jeter's about to have his production company or whatever it is we're doing now with these documentaries on famous people, do it in 4 parts and 6 parts. Jeter's about to celebrate the last iconic moment in pinstripes where you could be a star in baseball, while A-Rod has like this parallel reinvention over here that's not going through the production companies. It's going through ESPN and Fox and, the dating of J-Lo.
I feel bad for him, honestly. Like, it sounds weird, but like, it's kind of sad to not really know who you are and always be trying to gain people's acceptance. Like, if you look deep down.
Billy, that's been the criticism of him. Everybody in baseball wanted him to be more authentic. That was the criticism. This guy's a phony. It's not sincere. It's rehearsed. It's acted. But that's television.
It makes him great for TV.
Yeah, it does. I mean, nobody doubts that. He is a fake, but he's a beautiful fake. He's mastered the art, and it is art. But the smudge on his name doesn't disappear, though, right? Like, I wonder the weight of it. When you write the obituary for Alex Rodriguez in 30 years or whatever, what weight do you give to the fact that he had the longest steroid suspension in Major League history? I mean, that's up there, right?
Greg, I'm telling you, as his media career continues, that stuff just gets, it washes away, becomes a footnote.
It's so
Really?
great, though,
He's
to
going to
watch
be
it
remembered for
happen.
New Year's Rockin' Eve with A-Rod.
You're
Right.
so right. That's where it's going to end up, but on Amazon Prime, right? Because in the future,
On
it's
something that hasn't been invented yet, but he knows about it.
I love how we're talking about his media.
Great at New Year's Eve. All you have to do is count down backwards.
Yeah.
You don't think he would count down
be
from
great.
10?
He would be great
He
at New
would be
Year's Eve.
so
He would be
good.
terrible.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
he'd be beautiful.
Who would be good at New Year's Eve?
Anderson Cooper.
Mm.
I watch it every New Year's. He's great.
Really?
It's because they get drunk on
Right.
TV. That's why
Yeah.
I'm just watching for Don Lemon hits.
A-Rod.
It's
I love how we're talking about his media career when he owns an NBA team.
That's how good he is.
It's amazing. It's amazing with steroid money. Like he owns an NBA team with. Now he was great. He would have been great without steroids, and just like Barry Bonds was great without steroids. But steroids was very lucrative for A-Rod and others by providing a fountain of youth that allowed all these people to play into their late 30s.
Tony's just pointing out he could see him on New Year's Eve with the gloves on,
Uh-huh.
holding the mic in Times Square.
scarf,
Well, we were headed toward him being able.
cashmere.
We were headed toward him being able to do that with his wife J-Lo.
What happened there?
They both got what they wanted out of that, I think.
Yeah, I don't
You don't think?
I mean, I feel like there was more territory that was still not covered yet.
That
right? They
worked
could've
out
done
well
more.
for everyone.
Yeah, it worked
involved.
out well, but I feel like they left something on the table. There's more that could have been done.
I mean, they wanted the Mets, so I don't think they got what they wanted.
Do you think his fakery had anything to do there with where that ended? Because
No,
I
I
think
think
the
his history.
infidelity, yeah.
Well,
Something to do with
what
that.
are you talking about, the Mets or J-Lo? Because the Mets thing ended at a pretty obvious point, which is Major League Baseball doesn't want A-Rod owning a team. Why not? They went with Steve Cohen, for Christ's sakes.
you're talking about someone in your sport who's viewed for 30 years as being a phony.
Yeah.
Like I've known A-Rod since he was in high school. Like this is the criticism of him his entire life. It's been amazing to watch the reinvention through Hollywood and everything else that gets that rehab so that it's perfect for television. So perfect that both networks. Here's the other thing about A-Rod. As an announcer, lousy. Like lousy.
That's just because the camera's not on him the whole time.
So what? I'm with you. He's lousy at that. Why do we think he's
good in studio? I'm not good with painting him as a broad brush. He's not good on ESPN, but he's good on Fox.
Give him time.
he's not good at funny?
Let me ask a question. We've all kind of accepted that he's fake, right? Everyone says it. This isn't a secret, right? What if he's not fake? What if that's how he really is?
Okay, look, I'll reveal it. I was in A-Rod was at family functions. My wife's first cousin was married to A-Rod. He's like that all the time.
So that's
all
him.
the time.
But Whittingham's asking, but maybe that's just him. He's
Yeah.
trying, and this is what Billy's saying when he's saying it's a little bit sad. The entire life of A-Rod as someone, who ends up getting to fame like Orgeron, and then his life ends up changing in a way that he divorces his high school sweetheart and ends up in this vortex of temptation and Hollywood, Miami glamour as he is a star right away in baseball, right away. And not totally grown up in a way that, he puts his name on the college at the University of Miami, but it's always been a little bit insecure about his education or about what his legacy should be because he's not as educated as the others. Gets to all of these parties and poker rooms where Michael Jordan is and is asking a million questions of everybody, trying to figure out what do the people want. And so he says, what do the people want? So when you ask him what's his favorite book, The Winner Within by Pat Riley, because it's what he thinks he should be. Businessman, mogul, it's what sports has constructed, and he's trying to fit around the Jeter model, right? Which is just Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, don't say anything, be regal, but those guys, we felt it was authentic. A-Rod, never. Nobody thought it was authentic, but Whittingham's saying, well, maybe that's who the best he can do is the idea of what we want of him. That's what you're saying, and that's what Billy's saying is why it's sad, right?
Of course, it's why it's sad. And he's trying to live into the sports construct that you talk all the time, that we craft around. But when you're not that, what happens when you're not that? You're just a great athlete, but you don't know how to actually be cool, how to actually live the spirit of Derek Jeter and Tom Brady and these guys that embody everything that sports America loves about athletes. What happens when you're not that? You try and you're desperate for it, because he clearly has wanted that level of stardom from, as you say, Dan, when he was a teenager. What happens when you can't be it? You try and fake it, and then you eventually become that fakeness.
I know it's tough to put a positive spin on fakery, but on the other hand, there's a brilliance to this. There's a calculating brilliance to the idea that Alex Rodriguez, to mask everything else, has created a character. It's the Alex Rodriguez character, and it's been wildly successful.
It has 100% worked, and he's surpassed a lot of the people that have been named and people that he was trying to emulate. Like, he's a pop culture figure now, not a disgraced baseball player.
Mhm.
How many people, if you were to ask about A-Rod that are not like big baseball fans, do you think know about his scandal?
No, they don't know.
He's an incredible success story, and there are reasons why we're all labeling him as fake. He didn't have a positive male influence in his life. He idolized guys like Cal Ripken Jr. He was brought into the big leagues while he was a teenager, and he just imitated them. Kobe imitated these child prodigies, go into grown-ass workplaces, and they go right to the top, and they see how those guys act and behave, guys that they idolized when they were younger, and they just copy them because that's how it's done if you want that same success.
But Mike, the funny thing about A-Rod is when you bring that up, it kind of implies that they are copying the problematic behavior of the people at the top, right? The idea, you know.
I wasn't implying that. I'm just saying, like, he picks up a phone and he answers it the way that Michael Jordan would.
Right.
And he's Boston
Hello,
making
it's Michael Jordan.
Boston making fun of him last night while Boston was recruiting him. One of the things that was said that was strange about A-Rod, this was reported as in an article as being held against him, but it's also A-Rod. They had to have like a midnight meeting of some sort at his hotel room, and at midnight, A-Rod is answering the door in a suit and tie, impeccably dressed at midnight when they were just expecting somebody to be in jeans and a t-shirt, but he was presenting. He was always presenting.
Maybe he likes that. Why? Oh,
He
yeah.
does.
Yeah, maybe it's comfortable to sleep in a
Yeah.
suit.
He does.
Look, man.
Guy would dress like ridiculous for Easter.
I do it all the time.
I need to attack here a little more, though. Yes, I want to be where you are, Whittingham. You just showing up for functions in a three-piece suit with,
The same suit.
double-breasted. Well,
Did
wait.
A-Rod like
The
look for
onesie.
eggs with the family, or what was that like?
Greek Easter's a little bit different, but yeah. Yeah.
What did they look for?
Was he
Tzatziki
competitive?
sauce?
I mean, this is a little uncomfortable for me because I maybe I've alluded to this, but I've never quite revealed.
Well-
Like Cynthia Rodriguez is my wife Cynthia's first cousin. She's also her godmother, so Cynthia and Cynthia were very close. And A-Rod was at a bunch of family functions because I've been with Cynthia for close to 20 years.
I think that we can actually go and do a deep dive here on Miami Latin, because you said not raised by a father, but he was raised by basically his sister, his mom, and this relationship.
Yeah,
he had.
his family helped raise him, and he's returned the favor. He very insular, and he kept those people around and elevated them. I too met A-Rod. Like, my mom befriended A-Rod's mom when he was just getting into the big league, so I've seen his growth, and that dude acts the same way all the time. It may be a front, but it's the same way. Like, I learned how to talk to receptionists and check in at hotels from just watching my dad. It's the only time I ever really act like my dad because I never knew how to do that stuff. So all of it is just learned behavior that's reformed and honestly rewarded with a bunch of success. I got into the league. I acted like Cal Ripken Jr. I was the highest paid player ever. And he attributes it to his success.